Alright, hello everyone. Today's video I'm going to kind of get into some conspiracy talk, but it's more of conspiracy fact than conspiracy theory. If you believe that we live in an ever-expanding universe with our Earth rotating around the sun, spinning at 1,000 miles at its axis, flying through space at 66,600 and XX number, that they round up to 67,000, but you can find out for yourself that it's actually 66,600. I think it's like 53 or something like that miles per hour through space, all while the entire Milky Way galaxy is flying through space at even greater speeds than that. You've been lied to, just like I was. Just like I was taught in kindergarten to memorize, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are the first 4 planets of the stars. Well, that's a lie. I was indoctrinated and lied to starting in, preschool and kindergarten. Earth is not a planet. The planets are from the Greek word planetes, which means wandering star. Stars are sonoluminescence. I could spend a whole video on why there is no curvature, on why we can prove with experiments that if you have a laser pointer or something of that sort and you get a boat on a flat water in, the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, any lake, Michigan, whatever, you can have one boat be stationary and another boat go out 3-4 miles away. The curvature is supposed to be 8 inches per mile squared. So, for example, at 3 miles away, it would be 8 times 3 squared, which would be 8 times 9, which would be 72, divided by 12, which would be 6 feet. So it would be 8 inches the first mile, right? But then it's squared for every mile after that. So when you get to 3 miles, it would be 6 feet. And then 4 would be, I guess that'd be, 4 squared would be 16. 8 times 16 would be 80 and 42, which would be 122, divided by 12 would be how many feet it would be, because it's 122 inches, remember? So, so 122 divided by 12, it'd be roughly 10 feet at 4 miles, right? So you can take a boat and you can go out with a laser pointer and you can level up, whatever, 4 feet on your boat, and you can go hold a mirror or a board on another boat and go 3 miles away, or if you want to do it 4 miles away. At 3 miles it's supposed to be 6 feet in curvature, so there's supposed to be a 6-foot drop from the other boat. So you can use a laser pointer or something like that. You can see that the laser pointer will match up exactly, if it's started, you point it from 4 feet in elevation on that boat, and you match it up exactly to 4 feet in elevation on the other boat, and it completely hits whatever mark. It doesn't matter how tall it is, whatever that mark, if it's the same on both boats, but the distance is 3 miles away, it's supposed to be a 6-foot drop. So that's not possible. That right there eliminates the globe model. It eliminates the heliocentric model. And you can test that as much as you want. You can go 4 miles out where it's supposed to be a 10-foot drop, and et cetera, et cetera. There's plenty of things where people have done distance tests, 60 miles, 200 miles, less, 10 miles, 20 miles. And there's things that we can see that we shouldn't be able to see over this curve. And people like to argue refraction, but it just holds no weight, especially in context with everything. There's also experiments like, oh man, I'm totally losing my, there's like level and level experiments where you can take the level of, I don't know, there's many experiments for curvature specifically. You guys can take the time yourselves to go look at that, okay? What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to read the Bible, and I'm going to prove why the earth is flat with just hopefully, I've already done 5 minutes here, hopefully just a 15-minute video. So let's get started, okay? Now this doesn't have to be too in-depth, right? There's over, I believe there's over 200 verses that support a flat earth or prove a flat earth in the Bible. Some people say there's up to like 1,000 verses that support a flat Earth, and then there's at least 200 that prove it or more. So I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just going to do, the first part of the first chapter of the Bible. So Genesis 1, okay? Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay? The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Okay, so what's that talking about right there? I mean, just think about it. We've only read a few sentences here out of the first part of Genesis. This is talking about God created the light, and then he called it day. Is the light not the sun? That would be my interpretation, is that the light would be the sun, and the darkness would be the night, right? The sun and the moon go around, and they create the day and the night. Well, it doesn't specifically talk about the moon there, but you can go into this. Another thing I wanted to point out is, then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Okay, the waters above from the waters below. So when like I like to think, why is the sky blue? They can come up with every thing that they want to, but when you look at an ocean with the sun out, right, the ocean is blue. Okay, when I look at the sky when the sun's out, the sky is blue. Now, it's not rocket science, but I would assume that the sky is blue because there's waters up there, because we're told that the firmament separates the waters above from the waters below. Okay? Now, also this says, "And God called the firmament heaven." So the evening and the morning were the second day. So, I'm sorry. "Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." So that's what I'm talking about here with the sky being blue, right? "And God called the firmament heaven." So the firmament is above us, right? It's like crystalline firmament substance. I believe that there's multiple layers to it. I believe 7. Some people like to say 3, but I get from scriptures. I won't go into all that right now. Let's just stick to flat Earth. But basically, let's go back to the beginning here. It's talking about 3 things: the creation of the heavens and the earth, right? And it's talking about the creations of night and day, or the light, right? And it said that the darkness was already there, right? And the darkness was on the face of the deep, right? And we could go into everything from how I think that this could be the third world age. And, if you've not done your research into the Lemurians or the Atlanteans, they say that there was some cataclysmic event that wiped out these ancient civilizations with all these, technological advances and intelligence. And that's where we get all this ancient and occultist knowledge from, like the building of the pyramids and stuff like that. So, I've been, the most reasonable things that I've found are that, and especially with the stories as well, the stories say that Lemuria and was basically sunk into the earth. Like they were just sunk. There was like a big earthquake, and they were taken into the earth, right? And then the waters overflowed them. So that could have been hypothetically the first world age. And Atlantis is the same thing, right? Everyone knows that Atlantis is under the sea. They don't know exactly where. I believe it's literally the Atlantic Ocean. East of the Bahamas. I believe they've already found Atlantis. It's not exactly mainstream, but I think that they've found Atlantis east of the Bahamas. And it's Atlantis is the same thing. It was sunk underneath the water, and then you go from there, and it's just like I gotta stick to the topic here, right? But when it says, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void," I'm gonna go one thing at a time. I'm gonna get to that part where it says the earth was without forming void. Let's do one thing at a time. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay? So, the word create is, I believe, 2254 in the, in the Hebrew. I believe it's 2254. So, let me find it here so that I can verify. Oh goodness gracious! Now I've lost my thing. Maybe it's 2154. Forgive me. I literally just had it 2 seconds ago. It's 7. Hold on. Man, I can't believe that I just lost this. I'm gonna pause this video and I'm gonna make another one because